Welcome back, I'm Angler3. I'm here. We're going to continue with Genshin Impact. Last time, if you remember, we started a magic show that turned out to be a disaster, and now we're heading towards something of a trial. Try to see if Lyney or Lynette will get in trouble. They're being accused of the crime. Hard to say what really happened. Lots of magic. Very interesting. Already had the game pulled up, so I will flip over to that. There we go. Alright, I saw we had 10 wishes, and before I go use them, I figured I'd get on stream so we can watch. We have Neuvillette. He's the new character. He's a water judge guy. He would be really cool. I need water characters. But there's also Hu Tao, which is a lot of fun, and I only have one good fire character, so I'm really tempted to try to get her instead. Anybody have any preferences, let me know, and I'll take that into consideration. I usually like to incorporate ideas. Let's see. Which one should we do? Why is my video repeating the same video? Let's keep an eye on it. Anyway, I'm leaning towards Hu Tao. I'm hoping he will come up again. She might not come up for ages. Also, if I get her, then I can still try him. I like fire more than water. She's kind of funny. He's kind of dorky and old. I'm gonna go with her. Cross my fingers, and we'll go on with the trial. Ah, that's an awfully bright orangish purple. Let's see what purple thing we got. Probably a card or something. Oh look, it's the cat girl, Diona. She's pretty high at level 9. Not very helpful, not very useful character, but she's the cat girl. Alright, and I don't have enough to get another one, so we are gonna be out for a while. Not meant to be. Let's see what level she's at right now. Wow, look at that. She's 5th. 5th constellation. Still not going to convince me to use her. Okay. Ooh, look what I found. A viewpoint. Oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale. Yeah. Front row seats. There we go. With her Sherlock Holmes Watson glasses. I do have some thoughts, but let's take things step by step.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lyney and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
I thought the trial was the next day. I don't think time has passed yet. Or do we have to go past time for a day? Or is this the day? We walk around.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Just you wait.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session.
Whoa.
Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Those
Yes,
people
of
just
course.
magically showed up.
I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Lenny clearly reveals the details of the magic trick. Everyone in
Thank
the
you,
audience
Mr.
is stunned.
In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
No.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
He had to run. He had a recording, right? Didn't he have a
In
recording
that case,
playing
I
his
call
voice?
upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on! Something's not right here.
How could Lenny not know about that sound?
Yeah, I'm sure you could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
They probably represent the Oratress's stance on the trial.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
They're Fatui.
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Oh, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Liddy! Why didn't you tell us this before?
Lenny and Lynette are Fatui.
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
There's no doubt about the magician's ability to con others. Given how Lenny has concealed his identity, this could all have been set up beforehand. Plus, Child is here in Fontaine along with the other house operatives. There must be some scheme at work here. I've been a victim of such schemes before, and now...
Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Granted.
My client has withheld some key information. My defense cannot proceed. I said my client has withheld key
In
information.
that case, what is your request?
I request a brief adjournment. There are things that must be discussed.
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
Let's go find the real culprit.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Evil laughing. While court's adjourned, you meet with them backstage in the Opera House.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before.
Pumpkin back
I
there.
wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
But how can we know this isn't just another lie?
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but
Explain the other issue first. Where did you actually go while the trick was being performed?
right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
And what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Well, why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operates?
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
I believe in the facts. I will defend you from these charges. I believe that judgment will be dispensed as it should. I'll say the first.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the skills are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence we need.
Huh?
The adjournment's almost over. Let's go back.
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Does that mean we have to fight? His statement claims that he headed to the chamber containing the Oratrice core upon entering the tunnel, did not witness the crime taking place, and thus did not hear the thud. He claims to have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the Oratrice core within the Opera House underground structures. He also witnessed the stuff broken when he got back. Forgot that detail. Brief adjournment ends, nail-biting, trial reconvenes.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
Based on the opposition's account of events, you can identify loopholes in their statement. Use the evidence and clues obtained during the investigation to refute any erroneous assertions of fact and replace them with new inferences. Use your refutations to convince the audience and obtain more support from the people. The Oratrice will display such shifts clearly. When you find or refute all incorrect content, you can complete the cycle of refutation and unveil the truth.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud.
Not correct.
He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linny red-handed. So Linny proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
Yes. 2, 3, 4, and 5.
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linny experienced, and what he saw.
Alright. Entered the tunnel. As the countdown began. Identified loopholes. Okay, so he was outside and everybody saw him. Linny says he claims that he headed into the chamber containing the orators, entering that did not witness the crime taking place, thus did not hear the thud. No one left the opera house during the magic show. These have heard a mysterious voice within the chamber that houses the oratress's core within the clothes belonging to her were found in the tunnel. Linny must have been confused. Marina switching her audible thump and may answer. Okay. Headed to the chamber containing the oratress. No, wait, let's use that one first.
Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal.
Let's try this one. Mysterious voice.
Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Let's go to a different one. Linny attacked Halsey. Loud sound claimed to be heard. It's the same one, huh? There we go.
According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
Then he knocked her out using the base. Was he really in the tunnel at the time? Why he heard the voice. Yep.
Linny went to the room that contains the oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
He knocked him out. don't see how any of these match. Making it seem like an accident. Strange sound.
Seems this won't produce a particular. Seems that.
Alright, so you can't get against that one. So well, he did enter it.
Seems.
I'm just trying all of them.
Lenny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Lenny did indeed go into the tunnel.
Right, that's what I was saying. Can't argue with that.
But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent! Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
Moreover, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
The onstage equipment was clearly tampered with in a premeditated fashion. However, you can say Cowell bumped into Lenny by chance.
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Lenny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him!
And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around. Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
Do you happen to remember how you refuted his alibi initially?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't.
Your claim has now become my weapon. Your claim has now become a critical clue. Which evidence wasn't that he wasn't in the tunnel when the crime took place? Magic box in the center of the stage has 2 layers. Beneath it is an entrance to the underground tunnel. This is how the audience member was meant to have been transported without it knowing. That's true. Oh no, that's not. It doesn't tell you why he was in the tunnel. The box on stage has an additional layer to its rear where she, in his clothes, was hidden. She would appear at the end of the trick. Doesn't help. Probably third person being involved. Neither of them has a motive, but after having talked to Navia, the likelihood of a third person involved seems very low too. The magic trick gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work by using a box instead of a box. Inside a box. Irrelevant. Now we have tunnel stuff. Tunnel vent. Allow one person leaving claims to head into the chamber. Voice is irrelevant. Okay, well, these are all irrelevant, it says. What's this one? We missed one? Uh-oh. What's the hook then? Maybe it's this one, not yet investigated. Did I miss one? What did we miss?
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought? Paimon thinks there's something off here. That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Lenny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played. To think you'd use such logic.
I get it now. We're done.
Well then,
Done it if he wasn't there.
Lenny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The murderer was... Select the gear icon in the interface to check the corresponding case questions. Select questions and fill all empty gears and verify the correctness of your deduction. If you have made mistakes, you must make another selection from the remaining options. Once you've answered all the questions correctly, you can complete this logic. How did the culprit trigger the on-site accident? The guard investigation report indicates that the fireworks released near the end of the show ignited and burned through the rope suspending the water tank above the stage. This caused the water tank to fall and kill Cal in the box below. If Lenny is no longer under suspicion, then only the members of the troupe would have been able to tamper with the props. Lenny gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work by using a box inside a box. The idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath. And Lenny himself would also use this tunnel to get to the other side. Having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant would take charge of on-stage interactions. Clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. Select any clue to view detailed information. Who was the only person possibly have committed the crime? Who's that?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along?
Oh, maybe the box was rigged to choose her so she could commit a crime and then escape.
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility?
Oh, this is incorrect.
Halsey is the missing person and
Incorrect.
the deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant.
That was kind of weird.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
How can we envisage Linny as having been unable to interfere with the crime?
No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.
He was the one that was only an assistant for a short period of time. I do remember that.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. Linny was not in the tunnel at that...
This is incorrect.
No one entered or left the... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
Hey, they got rid of him.
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into...
I'll say that. Nope. I guess we have to use these ones.
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a... The deceased's name is Cowell. The sound we heard may have come from a clash. The sound we heard may have come from a... The sound we heard may have come from a... Halsey's clothing was in... The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or...
It's rigged. I can't possibly...
Linny was not in the tunnel at that... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
Cosmo must have understood the methods behind Lenny's magic attack, must have been able to position. Leaving aside now how he died, Cowell had all the means to commit the crime at his disposal. The strange noise could likely have been the sound of Cowell and Halsey struggling. Lenny was not in the tunnel for 1 minute. This would have given time for Cowell to bring Halsey out of the magic box in the audience stands. Oh, with different clothes. According to the guard testimony, no one entered or left the opera house, so even if he had taken her, no means of exiting. Exiting the box within the full view of the audience, pretty much guaranteeing they would have been discovered.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Where in the world did she go?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Escaping from the water tank? Wait, could it have been the water?
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold on a second.
Lenny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Lenny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. No one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention.
That's it. She's one of the guards in costume or something. Maybe she's dressed as Molly or something. Nope. What's this?
The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Lenny as well.
Okay, so the water, but what about it?
The vase was not broken by chance.
She's swimming? She's underwater? There's water? She's in the pot?
Oh, I don't get it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
Her request to re-examine his personal effects. We might find something there.
Must we really? everyone, your friend Linny already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps a new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased Cowell.
After some time, a guard returns with news.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the Primordial Sea.
The Primordial Sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You gotta be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order!
It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the Primordial Sea.
Liquid that he found in the luggage has the ability to dissolve Fontanians into water. Who's the prime suspect currently?
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment.
What item did the culprit use to control the timing of the dissolution? Control the timing of the dissolution.
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism.
What item did he use to dissolve her?
The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey entered the magic box.
What item did he use to hide the mechanism behind the crime?
The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. As such, the focus here is on the water and not the tank.
Oh. I didn't read it.
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with this? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh, that does make sense.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What? That can't be.
Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. As much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization. Am I right, Mr. Lenny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
Oh no! Paimon can't think of anything either. It doesn't look like there's any way around this. Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now?
Somebody put the evidence in his stuff.
I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move... excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on! Don't be hasty! I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lenny, if you would be so kind. What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry, Spina di Rasuda has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
She's gonna make him disappear.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cal.
I knew it!
I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Lenny's show was going to be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey! No wonder you look familiar! So you were the thief! Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled!
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was.
Oh, they probably poured the stuff on her and she didn't dissolve.
So
She's not
I
Fontanier.
the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured cardboard on me for no reason,
Yep.
and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box.
Self-defense.
There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes.
Aha.
I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
If they're a practiced hand at concealment, probably a professional thief could make it work.
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's time to refute the Hydro Archon's previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily-Ann's perspective.
Alright, let's start with entered the tunnel. The lady did not dissolve. It did not dissolve. Why were her clothes there? I'm not seeing it. These don't even match what I'm supposed to be doing.
Seems this won't produce a particularly...
I don't think any of these were. I was gonna write them, pick them all. I agree. None of these make sense.
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily-Ann's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed during the struggle between Lily-Ann and Cal. Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time.
Out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lily-Ann had not dissolved. He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lily-Ann back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until but she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story. Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow! Look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the operation of the magic box, and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lily-Anne was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lily-Anne. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lily-Anne, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lily-Anne's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Yay!
Partners, thank you all. Thank you so
We
much.
win, Firecracker. Let's not celebrate just yet. Are you saying we have to fight now? Okay. Cat wanted to fight. He didn't use claws that thing. Let's not celebrate just yet.
I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court?
I I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Kupo Town.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
Doctor. He turned into water. He was about to say the doctor, you know it.
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
However, nothing's found on the scene apart from the liquid left behind after he dissolved.
So, we're just going back now?
Problem seems to have dissolved for now. We're not needed here anymore.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Winnie...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
I just didn't wish to see anyone be falsely accused. I just wanted to be sure that we're square.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Heart? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when my parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, they proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to abilities just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
That doesn't seem too bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
Villains. So what happened after that?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person, and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
It's all in the past, though. The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
I'm sorry, but I still can't completely trust you, husband.
It's alright, I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand that even as a member of the house, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Lyney.
I understand. Bye-bye.
Bye, Lyney!
Twist of great magic. Leave the out. No chest after all of that.
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
Well, I...
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
I was really only trying to defend Linny. I wasn't necessarily looking into the serial disappearances case.
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Huh. I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, guess you really did treat us as partners, huh?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Let's go have that meal.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, kill Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful! In that case, why don't we return to the Court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
Alright then, let's have our farewell meal!
Offerings in the Fountain of Lucine. Offer the something something. Go to the workshop. Go to Hotel de Boer. We unlocked 2 quests. Sweet. And you're giving us credit for all 4 daily quests. Thank you. It's kind of frozen. Oh, there it is. We'll get our daily rewards here. If that is a thing. Oh, they probably are the quest ones where you send people up. Oops. Come on. Both need to be done, not too far away from each other.
Ad Astra Abyss.
Why does Catherine look so stressed out? I'll check that in a second.
Thank you for completing. Ad Astra. Ad Astra.
This adventurer didn't pass the review either. I wonder what's wrong. Did someone not pass the guild review? Mangler, I'm afraid. Oops. I'm sure you've heard the full name of Fontaine Research Institute is Fontaine Research Institute of Kinetic Energy Engineering before the explosion. It was the technological center of the entire court of Fontaine. I think I've heard of it before. Paimon remembers. Someone named Edwin made a mistake. There was an explosion at the Fontaine Research Institute, right? A commission from a place that blew up once? Sounds dangerous. That is true. According to the Fontaine Research Institute, the commission is rather difficult. Not for just anyone. So those who want to give it a try must go to the specified location and undergo a series of qualification reviews. They must prepare their own documents and certifications. Is a Mondstadt flying license acceptable? Is an arrest warrant a document? As an addendum, yes. They actually have a list of documents you must bring. The list includes your current and previous adventure handbooks, your commissions from the last 80 days, and more. Some of them even require stamps from the Maison Gestion. That's not all. There's more. But wait, there's more. Even if adventurers have all the documents and proofs ready and arrive at the specified location to be reviewed, they will not be able to accept the commission if they fail just one item of the qualification review. If the adventurer is not willing to accept other work arrangements, then they will be rejected. That sounds really strict. Yes, a lot of them went excitedly only return angry. This commission has been so infamous that no one wants to be reviewed anymore. Now I'm kind of interested. You want to be reviewed? That would be a huge help. Don't get too excited. Thank you for lending the guild your aid. Please wait here while all the required documents are ready for you. You have a pen? Oh, don't worry. I got a few bottles of ink. Oh, a few bottles. One not enough? I can't say. Don't worry, I'm very familiar with these documents, so just follow my instructions. First, one proof of your adventure qualifications, one 30-day travel history, and one registration of past and current adventure handbook serial numbers. Now for your commission history, income statement, commission evaluation, commission statistics, average positive ratings. For your resume, fill in the habitual residence, contact address, contact information, register contact, the current names you use in the past, and pseudonyms and aliases that you use when you want to conceal your identity. Now you have to sign the good faith commitment, notice liability, notice obligation, notice exemptions of information release for legal purposes, and this monologue's great. Give us another. My writing hand is tired from just listening to the list of documents. Wow, that's a lot of documents. With her help, you start filling out the forms, alternating between hesitance and doubt. You use a bottle after bottle of ink. The stack of forms also gradually shrinks. As you finish the last form, both you and her breathe a sigh of relief. So this commission's complete then. It hasn't even started. Paimon didn't think this commission would be so troublesome. But if we don't go to the review, then we've wasted our time. Well then, we'll leave this commission to you. I haven't even passed the qualification review yet. You'll be fine, I believe. As our receptionist in the Adventurers Guild, I know what you're capable of. If Fontaine's research rejects you, then there's no one else in Fontaine that can take this commission. I'll mark the location on the map, go there and find someone named Desnos, who is stationed there, and will guide you. Thank you again. You've done the guild a huge favor. If possible, I prefer, if not, have to stamp a single adventure qualification more. The way this is going, I'm going to wear the stamp out. Go to the preliminary review location. Which happens to be very far away. Alright, well, it's, where is it? Way up there? I'm not even on that side of the map yet. Alright, we'll go to a different quest. We'll do that one later when we're exploring in that direction.
There'll be an extra fee for that.
There we go. Like the faint moonlight of yesteryear. This is where Lyney has been acquitted. Not sure about what your next step should be. Take up her offer. Farewell meal. Celebrate your cooperation. That's where I was going. I have a bad skill of starting quests and not finishing them. It means a lot of characters are like, sorry, you can't do this quest because it's going to push things in you.
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
Oh, in that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
Everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
You, sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
It's certainly worth celebrating.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
The doctor. It's gotta be.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough. Which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through. Where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's alright. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
We wanted to ask the Hydro Archon for some information. We haven't had much opportunity to do so.
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending, and would agree in order to finish watching the play. Don't you think?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
Alright, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep.
Can you overlook something like that?
Alright, no more joking around. Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense.
Worth a try. Would someone with her personality really feel shame?
Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
I have to agree. My drink also tastes that way.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the treat, Navia. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore.
Try walking here.
Nah, that would be so... normal. You know, like you.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Seems that was pretty tough for her. That was a pretty pricey meal, all thanks to Paimon.
Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your request the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner. See ya!
Light rain falls without reason. Let's start.
There aren't many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vacher.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again?
Yeah, and it's clearer than it was during the day.
That's kinda spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vacher? Vacher.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be something nasty in the water.
I can feel strong emotions. Things are getting a little blurry.
Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. It's calling for Vacher, right? Hey, Traveler! Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Where's this?
Vacher! Are you... my dear Vacher? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vacher? Do you know where my love is?
I'm afraid not. I'm sorry, who are you?
Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. I fear I do not know. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. So many fragments dissolved amidst the tide, never to be recovered. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten?
You were once human?
Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the consciousness of one who has lost their form.
You lost your form.
I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water, and it all grew dim.
Light blue water? Could that have been Chiba, one of the girls who were dissolved?
I also remember going to many places. I loved adventure, loved exploring places of peril. No matter where I went, Vacher would go with me. I knew how dearly he loved me, and I also loved him equally as much. But now, we can no longer go back. The pain of such parting, I never knew how heavy it could be.
Do you need me to find it?
No, our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor, so let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vacher, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still remember.
I believe it'll be hard for him to forget you.
Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vacher above the
surface. His eyes were filled with such sorrow, such longing. If only I could have comforted him, told him that I did not suffer. Indeed, I had felt a great warmth.
That means he was a witness to the fact that you dissolved?
Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, I consider it a form of release. It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy, with only an endless peace, like the water's still surface. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long in a world of endless want and anxiety.
Seems that after the bodies dissolve, some measure of the consciousness still
I
remains.
think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think.
Yep, Paimon. Alright, I wonder how much time has passed in reality.
Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember, if you see Vacher, tell him not to seek me out any longer.
What'd she steal this time?
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Clorand?
Sealy.
Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword, dear Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same were he unlived.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Mademoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. That's my father's true last wish. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarine. But if you get any ideas, tell me first. I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Florand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could attempt to thaw relations a little.
I know, she's...
What just happened? Who was that?
Oh, thank goodness! I thought we were done for! Those Gardemex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and our gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Chlorine who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
So you're a fighter now, Cleo. Thanks for the rescue, Nadia.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together shall be a victory feast. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill long ago.
All right, you two. That's enough.
Actually, Nadia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up in the nick of time.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Ooh, Paimon's even more amazing than she thought!
Yes, all thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky.
Wait, you mean that? I thought it tasted strange as well, but I couldn't be sure.
Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta is water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
I would have dissolved.
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the boss.
Huh? Really?
Fortunately, Paimon, neither of us are from Fontaine. Otherwise, we would have been.
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Now we're caught up in this mess too, aren't we?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of, and almost got their name in the process. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said that he heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial seawater then?
According to Lynette, the ability to hear voices like that has to do with one's sensibility to the hydro element.
Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
I also gained some new intel.
New intel? While you were out cold?
Well, let's hear it, shall we?
The voice in the fountain belonged to one of the missing women. A person named Walker was a witness when she dissolved.
Oh, that is important.
You tell everyone about what happened while you were connected to the Oceanid's conscience.
That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene. But he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been...
If he's still alive, we should try searching for him.
Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate.
By we, you mean us too, right?
Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners, right? And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Nothing as thus will cost them. This will prove to be their biggest mistake.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange accommodations for you. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
Go to her stronghold, which is really far. This place is huge.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, Traveler.
Is it right below me? Was I supposed to go down that little stairway? Wow, that's a long way down. This does not feel right at all. My goodness, this is a far way down. I think this is the right way. Who's that right there? Hello, person. Mixing the mud. Am I supposed to turn it into water so I can go faster or anything else? I don't think I ended up getting that. I'm gonna like take 3 million pictures and those again. Hello? Oops. Dog's mad. Sorry, doggy. Nobody wants to talk, okay. Fair enough. I'm like a Ninja Turtle. Sewers. Ooh, I can take a picture. And there's a save point. There's that save point I was looking for. Faint moonlight of yesteryear. Corroded shadows, painted curves. Meow meow. Yep, we went the right way, alright. Whoa! You need a lock picked or perhaps switched. You do this business by night? Of course. Don't people usually realize that they've forgotten to bring their keys only upon returning home at night? Oh wait, I get it. You're wondering if I'm doing something terrible here, are you? Don't worry, don't worry. I have principles and sense. And more importantly, I don't have to perform a trial standing show at the opera house. Guess we'll explore later. Oh, what's through here? Robin versus Chesterton.
So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Thank you.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... he was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself.
It does seem quite odd. Do you have any other clues as to why?
The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Seeking the truth for the sake of your family. You know, we're quite alike in that regard.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Wait, if Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind. If Callus was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen to him.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him?
No wonder the mood was a little strange between the two of you.
Yeah, that's not the sort of thing that you can just let go and move on from.
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this yet.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety.
And that indicates he intended to die in that duel.
Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right, anyway. That's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end.
No, it's alright. I understand how important this is to you.
Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
Yeah. Paimon's feet.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly. Whether it be responsibility for Spina di Rosula or Master Callus's death, it all landed on Demoiselle's shoulders so suddenly. His soul too. I must become stronger.
Peaceful night passes under her protection. Their protection.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe. Huh? Navia? Where did the other two go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina di Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. there's not much for them to do here at the moment.
I get the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vache.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence appear?
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanette you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you. In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we? Aren't you coming along, Navia? Did you get tired?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief Justice. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
The library, or the archives, or whatever's there. Pumpkin's back.
Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters. This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves that Neuvillette's files are really secure.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. I can tell. If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
Well, all right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Thanks so much.
knock on door.
Please come in. It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not Matters?
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Guess that's that, so we're back to square one.
What if it was really just a dream?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die, despised and hated by all? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed everything. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything. Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you okay?
I'm fine. Rain. It's raining.
You're right. Wasn't it still sunny when we went into the building? And there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
Rain.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Your father's case. Was he outside when it happened?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything.
Maybe they decided to do it when it was raining so they could hide the actual clues. There was something you didn't know at the time.
Wait. You don't mean...
The fact that people could be turned into water.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water? And then got washed away with the rain? Yeah! And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities!
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. How did I not connect the dots earlier? Alright, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this time!
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later?
Go on, that idea is still fresh.
Great, let's go then.
One can just sneeze.
Should be anchored at a place like this.
There's no need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common. A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
I think I'm starting to get why you like it.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home.
What rules? Fresh fish, I see. Don't worry. Never cheat his customers. You have questions, I got answers. We'll exchange what you know for what I know. That's how I roll. Yeah, I'm good. Come back once you consider you. If you live there.
Intel is just like pictures. You gotta invest a lot before you
Let's see if I learned something. Yeah. You hadn't told me. I never know if he was in this line before. I mean, it's not completely unreasonable. Doing dirty business doesn't mean you don't accumulate experience, right? Now he's changed jobs to some sort of financial consultant, mentioning a few investment trends to the boss every so often for some easy more. Pretty sweet deal. Agreed. So, speaking of which, I'm reminded of some kid who wasn't able to join the Spina di Rosula. Had a silver tongue he did, but no real ability. Lately, I've heard that he's gotten mixed up in another faction, and he's been walking with a real swagger since. Well, that's dangerous behavior. Ignoring the Paramonia like that, I reckon he'll be invited to sing at the opera soon enough.
Maloose, we're back!
Apologies for the wait, Demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea? You still remember, right, Maloose? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Would the mastermind be the same person?
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation. Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
Could have belonged to someone who got dissolved.
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired.
Maybe your father got into an argument with Jacques? But it's also possible the third person was to blame.
You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There's no need to follow your father's path. It will be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Sylvia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
They are trying to
No
kill her.
father wants their daughter to see them weak and
Lafante.
haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud.
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him. Is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
Gave you the choice to live how you want.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world. But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. Essentially, it's the enemy's headquarters. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization that's been in operation for decades. There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly they may have been infiltrated.
Huh. That's true. Seems my father really had no choice. But things are different now. It should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Malus. Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
What's the Confrérie?
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support. It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite regularly. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's almost too hard to believe.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Aw, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the best.
A new case awaits, my dear partner.
Leave it to me.
I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
3 years ago on a rainy night, Bigfoot goers heard 2 gunshots outside the house. When they reached the scene, Callus had a gun in his hands and Jacques had been shot and slain. Based on the investigations done then, there was no possibility that anyone else could have done the deed and escaped, and Callus was thus adjudged to have been the culprit. Okay. I'm gonna try this real quick. Oh, what's Radiant Heart? Wondrous creatures that should only have existed in the laboratory suddenly appeared on things Mars and you encounter an ancient merchant. You should try that. Let's also do these ones. Move it. Because I see our character that we skipped. He lost the 50-50. Huh. That's interesting. He's got a... sounds like he's got an attack like, oh wow. He hurt himself to do that. was quite strong. Now does he heal himself in the movie? Yeah, look at his heal. That's cool. Let's see what people like him. Super strong.
Be sanctified.
Oh, we also got Yaya here. Holy crap. Hey, Yaya. Your turn. Okay, super.
Settle down. The mighty be humble.
Where are these balls? Can I collect them or I hit them? Whoa. I hit him with this one and I beat him. We'll try hers to get the bonus points, and then we'll, I think next time we'll try Jellyfish and continue this main quest if we have time. I think that's the plan. See, she's all about damage. And restoring HP. She can restore HP too. That hurt her. So they both can hurt themselves and then heal themselves. Heal herself. A little bit. Hurt herself. Yep. Alright, heal yourself. Heal yourself a little bit. I just take some practice. Kill herself? That's a good question. So I'm gonna try her magic. No. Nope. Must be a percentage. That was pretty cool. Almost died. Alright, let's gather that reward. Now let's see, just out of curiosity, how far he is. They're showing that he's underwater. So I have to go underwater to get to him. So I should just go normal anyway. Okay. Well, I think that's good for now. We will go ahead and call that good for this stream. Let's go ahead and double check and see if anyone else's armor can raid. It looks like we've got lots of people on. I guess it is Friday afternoon. I think we'll go Tink Tink Games because we've done Tyler Salt multiple times. Sorry, Tyler. Next time. Maybe if Tink Tink leaves, we'll join you. If I can spell it right. Tink Games. Alright. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll hopefully see you guys later. Not sure exactly if it'll be next time or what, but thanks again for coming.
The damned will sooner die again than lay a hand on me.